Hello, my fellow warriors of light. Welcome to another current energy update for the Lunar New Year of February 12th, 2021. Now, today, I have been in a deep heal the last week and a half. I ended the 100-day vlog challenge about 2 weeks ago. I've done a couple of interviews. I've released some other content, but man, did I go into a needed rest, a needed break to the point where I couldn't do anything. And for the first time, I didn't stress about it. I stressed about it a little bit. I say, I fought it a little bit, but then I finally realized that this is just what I needed. I just did a 100-day video challenge. I did the whole thing. I accomplished it. And again, I was in this old state of being where it wasn't enough for me. And that's when I realized I just needed to take a breather. That's why the name of this energy update is called Let's Take a Breather. Because that's what's really where we're at right now. You know what I mean? There's really nothing we can do more than what we're doing. We're doing a lot of work in the astral again. We're doing a lot of healing. We're doing a lot of upgrading. And I wasn't getting anything from my guides. I wasn't getting anything from my higher self. I wanted to come on and make some more videos. I wanted to keep the momentum going because of this whole, the narratives and storylines we create in our head about, especially of who we were in the past. And so that's when I just decided to jump on and now and give you one of my energy updates. And so I had ended up writing things down over the last 2 weeks that I was going to make videos on. And I just realized that why not make one video on it and just make it a lot more in depth. The first message obviously was, let's take a breather. Let's slow down. Again, we're running so fast. We want these results. We want things to happen our way on our timeline, and they're not. And we're getting frustrated. We're getting upset. We're getting exhausted. We're starting to battle ourselves. We're starting to battle other people, and it's not helping anyone or anything. Now, what's happening in the world is happening on divine timing. It's not happening on the linear timetable that we've been manipulated and propagated to believe is real. That's why I opened this video up talking about the Lunar New Year. Today is the actual first day of our new year. We had the lunar calendar all the way up until like 1850. I think it was 1853, I think was when America finally, all the states in the Union finally adopted the Julian calendar, which stands for Julius Caesar, which again is another Greco-Roman manipulation. They added 10 days. They added 10 days to the freaking, to our calendar. We don't even know what true timetables are. We don't know, that's why you're always seeing between 2500 and 2000 BC, and because we've had even our calendars manipulated. And so with the Lunar New Year, this is the beginning. And doesn't it feel like it? I mean, it's here in Florida, at least. I know you guys up in the Midwest and the North, you guys are getting pounded by snow right now, and there's like about 9 more bands coming. And I guess this is what they were talking about, the dark winter, right? But in reality, there's nothing dark about it. It's just pure information release. A lot of things are coming to the surface. A lot of wounds are showing themselves finally, and that is how we're going to be able to purge them as a collective consciousness. And the only way to do that is if we know about it. The only way we do that is to go into our past so that we can take steps forward into our future. And that's something else I had wrote down. That's another thing I wrote down was going backwards to move forward. Even in our own lives, we need to look into our past. I see a lot of comments on YouTube videos that I follow where people are, I don't go into my past. I don't give it any of my energy. And that'll work for some time, but there will be a point in time where you come into this ascension. You come into a point in this ascension. You come into a point in your spiritual evolution where you have no choice but to face the trauma from your past in order to move forward. Or you're going to get stuck standing still, and you're not going to know why, and you're going to spin your wheels, and your relationships are going to sour, and all these things are going to happen, and you're not going to know why. And it's because you're doing the one thing, you're not doing the one thing you need to do for yourself, which is to address the drama and the trauma from our past, so that we can then evolve into who we are becoming and who we designed ourselves to be. And that is what's also happening on the earth plane right now with humanity is we need to learn about what's actually gone down. We need to know the truth about the VACCINEs. We need to know the truth that the MASKSs don't work. We need to know the truth that this C19 is a sham bala. We need to learn our history. We need to learn our history as within, so without. And we need to also learn the history of our planet. We need to learn the actual history of our countries, to learn the U.S. Corporation Act of 1871, to learn about what the Social Security system is, to really learn about what the birth certificate system is, to really understand what happened at the Nuremberg trials, to really understand what happened during Vietnam, what happened when we were taken off the gold standard, what happened, so that when we finally come together as a people, which we will, it's inevitable. The 100th monkey theory, the 100th monkey effect is already happening. It's already occurring. And that's why you're seeing more and more people wake up. And that's why you're seeing this prolonged charade, so that more and more people have the chance for it to affect them into a point where they're like, what is going on? And then when enough people, which we've already hit that critical mass, start to wake up, that's when the changes will occur. And they're starting to occur. It may not feel like it, it may not look like it, but at every turn, the other side, the negative side, they're making terrible, horrible decisions because, again, in my opinion, it's all a movie, and it's a movie to help the world wake up. This isn't about a 4-year election. This isn't about just winning one election. It's about the whole entire world. It's about the entire world ridding itself of all of the decay and trauma and the darkness that has been holding it hostage for so long. And so that's when I come into this next thing that has came to me about 10 days ago. And as I've gone through some of the YouTube channels I follow, a lot of people have had the same message, and that's how I know it's coming from our galactic family. It's coming from our divine family, and that is the need for neutrality now. And that's going to be a hard one because we've been fighting on our side for so long. We've been going at it for so long that now it's hard not to want to see the outcome that you knew was going to be what it was going to be. It's hard not to want to see people get arrested. It's hard not to want to see people be punished and be put into painful situations the way that the entire world has been put into a painful situation. But that is not solving anything, and that's not serving humanity. It's not serving ourselves. The key is, you could be jovial about the fact that justice is being served, about the fact that the earth is evolving, about the fact that humanity is awakening. It's all about intention, right? It's all about intention, what we think. But it's also about praying or sending positive vibes or sending positive energy to those people who have been lost in the darkness for this long. Because at the end of the day, so many people are stuck in this blackmail regime, this whole blackmail thing, that how many do you think wanted to do what they had to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about all of the Chinese people and how they treat each other and how they do that. The way the German people were the ones to pull people into the streets during World War II and start beating them because they were who they were. I can't say the word because I'm going to be referred to as anti-Semite now, apparently, because you can't say anything truthful about anything. But at the end of the day, what actually really happened was it was the German people who acquiesced, turned on their own people, and made sure that they were put on the trains to go to where they were going. And that's the same thing that happened in Russia. And that's the same thing that's happening in China. And now it's the same thing that's happening in America. And nobody wants to connect the dots to our past because history has been manipulated so much that nobody talks about the acquiescence of a people and how they were the ones to put people into concentration camps. Just like in America during World War II, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, all of a sudden we took Japanese civilians. We took American civilians who happened to be Japanese, and we took Japanese citizens and we put them in concentration camps because of fear. And we're talking about doing it again. They're doing it already in Canada. And that's why it's important to be neutral now. Because as soon as you start pushing an energy towards one side of the fence, then you have that polarity, you have that dualistic energy trying to come balancing you out. It's trying to come balance you out. But if you take a point of neutrality where you know what your truth is, you know the truth, you know the facts, and you move forward with peace, love, and grace, and you pray for those, and you help those in terms of energy. Obviously, we can't cure anybody. We can't help anybody. We can only be there for people in terms of support, in terms of awareness and guidance. That's who we are as light workers, as way showers. Unless people come to us and ask us for our help. No more soliciting advice. That's my big thing. No more soliciting or giving unsolicited advice. No more going and seeing somebody and trying to save them. It is time for humanity to stand on their own. It is time for humans to grow up and be able to walk and put on big boy pants and big girl pants and do the work themselves. But we're here to show them the way. We're the lighthouses. We're the beacons. And that is why we take a stance of neutrality, is because we can stand in our truth like the lion, not even having to defend ourselves because we don't have an opinion one way or the other. Truth is an opinion. Truth is not opinion. Truth is truth. Your truth is your truth, and other people's truths are other people's truths. And when you take a stance of neutrality, you can accept other people's truths, speak your truth, and come together for a true solution that can actually fix the problems that we're trying to overcome. Because that's what we're seeing all around the world, is we're seeing a very minute sect of people pushing their idea of the world onto everyone because they themselves can't change their dichotomy. That's what's happening with these elites and this cabal and all this craziness. Is you have a small group of people who think the world should be a certain way. And so they'll do everything in their power to externally change what they can't change within themselves, to find the peace and the harmony and the fulfillment and the purpose and the strength and the abundance and the wellness that they're looking for. And that's all that is. And you see that in your in the relationships closest to you. You could take a 100,000-foot view and look at the relationships between countries, with the way countries treat their people, the way towns treat each other. And you see it everywhere. Everyone is taking what's happening inside of them and coming out, and they're projecting it on everyone else because they can't take the time to see that it's all on them. And that is where my next that's where the next statement comes from, or the next thing I wrote down, is that it's the end of fake professionalism. That's what I was thinking about this the other day. It's amazing how you could be the biggest piece of shit in the world, but as long as you're professional, you can literally take it all the way to the top. But if you're someone who will not put up with someone who's a professional piece of shit, if you're someone who will not put up with injustice, if you're someone who will not put up with someone treating people poorly, you will not make it in this fake 3D matrix that we've created out of fear of what other people think of us, because we're separated from the one truth that is we're all God together in form. And that is what this infringement on all of our sovereignty is about, is that more and more humans are waking up to their divinity and their sovereignty, and it's scaring those in control, perceived control, because their illusion is crumbling and there's nothing they can do about it. So they're just trying to and how do we get here? Professionalism. How many people put on an mask? How many people put on an mask because they're scared of what other people think of them, or that they don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings? Because at the end of the day, that's what really is what's happening right now in this divide. It's ignorant feelings, divine knowing. That's the two sides. Ignorant feelings, divine knowing. Feelings are important, yes. Emotions are important, yes. We're energy beings. It's absolutely important. But it's important to know where your feelings are coming from. It's important to know where your emotions are coming from. Are they yours? Are they not yours? Sorry. And if they're yours, where's the root? Because if you have a feeling about something like, I feel scared, so I'm going to do this thing, And then I'm going to virtue signal all the other people who aren't scared like me. Because why? Because I have a feeling that I don't know why I have a feeling, but these people out here, or these people in this black mirror, or these people in these boxes, they're telling me that this is why I'm feeling how I'm feeling. And because I don't know how I'm feeling, I'm no expert, I'm not a psychologist. Therefore, they know me better than I know myself. And that is where acquiescence comes from. And that's what this professionalism comes from. It's all of the light beings. It is all of the positive people in this world. It is all of the happy people in this world that don't want to ruffle feathers, that don't want to hurt people's feelings, that don't want other people thinking poorly of them, and acquiesce into this fake professionalism that is not professional. Emotional manipulation isn't professional. Scare tactics isn't professional. Using sex to get what you want isn't professional. Yet these are the people who are at the top, the professionals who are at the top, who have run our world into literally the ground. So it's the end of professionalism as we know it, and it's the beginning of truth. And you could speak your truth with kindness and compassion. But this fake professionalism where you talk shit behind people's backs and you are passively aggressive, and it's not going to work anymore. You know why? Because it never worked. And you're seeing the fallout of it. It's time for us to pay attention to the minutia of life. That means we need to be present. That means we need to see the signs and synchronicities happening around us. The time is speeding up in the 3D human sense. Earth time is speeding up. Where more and more energy is being blasted on the planet. Our DNA is unlocking as long as you're not putting in, aluminum and mercury and mRNA and all these crazy ass things that are going to just completely destroy this beautiful piece of technology that was given to us, that was graced to us, right? But it's time to start paying attention to the minutia of life. It's time to slow down and take a breather. Why is it time to slow down and take a breather? Because there's no other time left. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to figure out. It really is time to just go along for the ride. Stay in flow. Stay in alignment with yourself, with your purpose, with your higher self. Be your higher self. Because right now, another message I wrote down, it's like we're rally racing right now. We're in a 750 horsepower Subaru STI on a dirt track, right? We got God in the universe, right? Source in the universe in the driver's seat doing about $160 down a dirt road going off 60-foot jumps. And we're over here on the side going, right, left, right. That's how they do it. It's cool. You should watch a rally race video one day. Maybe I'll put one in this description. The dudes are intense. They're just driving and they're going left, right. And that's what it feels like, right? We'd have no clue. But all we know is we have our intuition, because time's moving so fast that the only thing that's going to keep us centered in ourselves is being present, paying attention to the minutia of life, and hanging on, because we're along for this ride. There's nothing we can do about it. We signed up to be here, and it is the greatest time to be a human being on this planet. I don't know about the greatest time to be a human on this planet. To be an awakened human being, it is the greatest time to be an awakened human being on this planet, and you know that for a fact. I was reading a comment in one of these videos, and somebody talked about how one of my theories, which is we are all fractals of God, so we are all God incarnate. And this guy's like, anybody's God? I don't know about that. And for some reason, it just hit me. Boom. Not anybody. All of us. That's the key. Not just anybody is God, everybody. Not just anybody. All of us are God. All of us are from Source. We are of Source. We are God creator beings. That is why we are here. That is why we awaken. And that's why we are the way showers, the light workers, the light warriors, and all these other pronouns. Because it's time. We've done this so many times in other lives. We've served humanity so many times in other lives that it's it's bringing it all together now for the Twilight Tour. Why do you think it's so hard for you to just choose one specialty? Because you've done it already. You learned it. Or you don't have to. Why do you find yourself taken to this weird esoteric stuff? Why do you find yourself taken to channelings and you could have been the hardest, baddest dude or woman ever, and all of a sudden now you're all about love and light and butterflies and unicorns. You see a dog and you melt. You see a baby and you just get all... Why is that? It's because we're all God and we see God in everything now, because we're awakening, because we're finding that God in us. We're finding that source in us, that energy, that light. And it feels good. And it's the only thing that feels good. And it's the only time we feel purposed. It's the only time we feel significant. It's the only time we feel in alignment with ourselves, is when we're following this esoteric spiritual path that also is balanced with humanity. And so they came to me with this image, and I saw it on a Telegram channel. And hopefully it's gonna come up as I'm saying this, because I recorded the video beforehand, and I'll put the picture up there if I could find it. But we're at this stage now. We're at stage 3 of 4 of the butterfly stage, right? So you start off as the caterpillar, and you're just crawling along. You're learning, you're observing, you're doing all the things, right? And all of a sudden, something feels weird, and you lose your interest, right? So you start losing. So that was the first stage. Now, the second stage, you start losing your interests. And you go into this cocoon, right? You kind of go into this hibernation where a lot of your friendships start to fall by the wayside. Your old interests start to fall by the wayside. Your ability to be in large groups of people, and you just want to be alone, and you want to be with yourself, and you want to study this weird, crazy stuff that you may have never been into. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a cocoon. So what's stage 3? We're already the butterfly. That's stage 3. We're already the butterfly, but we're still in the cocoon. The bottom of the cocoon has broken open, and now we're growing still, because we're still eating and we're still, growing. But now we're having to wriggle ourselves out, and the cocoon's getting tighter, and we're having to wriggle, and the cocoon's getting tight. And so the bottom of the cocoon is broken out. We haven't even breached it yet, but we're being birthed. Each and every one of us, just like humanity as a collective, we're being birthed right now. And it's painful, and it's a slow process, and it looks like all is going to be lost, and it looks like it's never going to end, and it looks like we're going to be here forever. But remember, it took thousands upon thousands of years for us to get to this level of darkness. We have to be a little patient and have a little faith to allow it to happen on its own divine timing. We're no longer toddlers. And we're not even children anymore. We're teenagers becoming adults in this spiritual path, in our spiritual awakening within this life. We've been spiritual adults in many lives beforehand, but this is a life we're now bringing it all together. There's no more separation. We are our higher selves now. If you've been noticing, you aren't battling yourself as much anymore, right? You're actually showing yourself to have a little more compassion. You're actually showing yourself that you have your own back. You're giving yourself what it is you need when you're struggling, right? You give yourself the more water when you need the more water, the more sleep when you need the more sleep. And that's where we're at. There is no more separation. We are not our egos anymore. Our egos, it comes up. But I don't believe our ego is coming up as a program as much anymore. I believe our ego is coming up for us to transmute that darkness that we still hold inside of ourselves. That trauma that needs to get let out of ourselves so that our DNA can hold more light, so that then we can have more remembrance, so that we can then make it a little bit further on our path. And if you've noticed, each month you've shed more of the person you were, and you've become more of the person you were always meant to be. And you should be proud of yourself, and you should take self-inventory, and you should see how far you've come, how amazing you are doing. We are our higher selves now. We have instant access to our oversoul, to our Akashic records. We can enter the living kingdom whenever we choose to, through doing the right work at the right time and feeding ourselves with what we need to stay aligned and balanced and harmonized, right? Stop, breathe, ask, listen, trust. Holy Trinity, frequency, vibration, and resonance to create and manifest the life that you design for yourself and that you desire. We have ascended. And I know it's hard to accept, and I know it's hard for a lot of us to give ourselves that credit because we've been so hard on ourselves our whole life. We're perfectionists, and nothing's ever good enough, and we're never far enough, and we're never further along enough, and we're never enough for ourselves. But it's time to be enough. It's time to be enough because look how far you've gotten not being enough. And you're going to keep getting further and further and further if you keep just doing the same type of momentum, that same focus of self-care, self-love, self-acceptance, and self-awareness. And now is the time. Be the ascended master. If you have feelings and emotions, it's because you're transmuting it. It's because you're having to get it out of you. You're still a human being. You're still human on this planet. You're still you have third dimensional form, but you're not the third dimensional form. That's your body elemental. Start talking to your body elemental. Start asking your body elemental, who has been with you in every life you've been on this planet. Ask him about your past lives. Ask them about your past experiences. Ask them what it is they need. And show these different parts of you, these different consciousnesses, that you are the ascended being now, having a human experience as the observer, going through this experience. I mean, that was a long current energy update, but there was a lot to it. I haven't talked to you guys in about 10 or 14 days other than those interviews, which I love. Anybody who wants to come on the Ascension Files, hit me up. I'd love to interview you. If you liked what you've seen and heard today, hit that like button. If you want to join the Army of Energy, hit that subscribe button. If you want to support me and yourself, talk to me about DIRT. Talk to me about this supplement called DIRT. It uses humic acid to help detox your cells and take this ascension experience to the next level. I'm very proud of all of you, though. I'm very grateful for all of you. And I'm just super excited that every time I go through my own little challenges or battles or whatever you want to call it, I come out through, I'm just stronger and lighter, and it's all perfect, everyone, and you're perfect too. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have an even better evening, and I will talk to you the next time. Take care and goodbye.